Joining me right now is Alp Mehmet, chairman of MigrationWatch UK. Are we being invaded?
Look, this is a crisis. It's an absolute crisis, and it merits really tough talking. It merits the right sort of words that describe what's going on. I think Suella Braverman has done exactly that. It may be that the Islington and Notting Hill dinner set want it all played in accordance with their rules, but I'm afraid that won't work. What Dennis McShane said earlier, a good friend, a former minister of mine, I recall when I was an immigration officer in the 70s, Jim Callaghan was Home Secretary. And he took over at a time when a chap called Alex Lyon was the immigration minister. Alex Lyon instructed immigration officials here and in the subcontinent to issue all the visas, all the entry clearances, we call them then, to those who were applying, because there was a finite number. Guess what?
Yeah.
There wasn't a finite number. The numbers just kept going up and up and up. And in the end, Jim Callaghan sacked him.
Right.
Because it was a nonsense. And exactly the same thing is being proposed now by the Labour Party, that we should let them all in, that they should all come in, and therefore that will deal with a problem. It won't. It won't in the least. All it will do is attract more and more and more. And we mustn't lose sight of why we've got this problem, Patrick.
Why?
We've had 40,000 this year.
Yep.
25,000 in the last 4 months. 7,000 coming in this month. Do you know, the Armada, when the Spanish invaded, there were 150 ships, 18,000 men. We've had 980 boats coming over this time with 40,000 people.
Well, there you go.
What
there
more
you
can I
go.
say?
Well, absolutely. And parallels there, I suppose, you're talking about one being an invasion, but we're not allowed to call another one an invasion. From where I'm sitting now, I think we are standing on the precipice in this country. I've thought this now, especially in the last few days, and I think history will remember this specific period of time in Britain where we really are at a very, very decisive moment. A moment that I think could go on to define the future of this nation. We are currently in a situation where we're having record numbers of people coming here across the channel. We have no clear way of stopping them, and we have a deterrent being deliberately stopped by people and an opposition that is deliberately not coming up with any way to stop this. And I think when people use the language like invasion and they get criticised for it, it's because people are angry and people recognise the situation that we're currently in. If we don't do something now, this country could change irreversibly forever, could it not?
It's changing. The speed with which we've had immigration over the last 20 years is already having that sort of impact. So, yes, we do have to address this seriously. Bear in mind what Suella Braverman said in the party conference. She wasn't just referring to the channel, she was also referring to overall immigration. That needed to be addressed as well. And I think that this is why those on the left and those within her own party are seriously concerned, because A, she not only gets it, but she seems to have the brain as well to be able to implement the sort of policies that she thinks are necessary.
And where's Rishi Sunak in all of this? Suella Braverman stood up there yesterday. When she first walked in, I felt for the girl because I thought, oh, goodness me, she doesn't look quite herself. And no wonder, she's copied it left, right and centre. And then she stands up and you could see she got into her stride and she went, you know what, actually, let's have it right. All of these people coming over here, you've been lying to us, gaslighting a nation from the other side of those benches, saying that they're all asylum seekers and refugees. They are not all asylum seekers and refugees, to put it mildly. She then said, well, it's an invasion on our south coast. All right, a lot of people think that actually it is. Where is Rishi Sunak? He should be standing full square behind her. She was undermined by one of her immigration ministers earlier who said he wouldn't have used divisive rhetoric. It's not divisive if it's the truth.
Well, look, she undoubtedly was placed there in order to take these, as Home Secretary...
Or she hung out to dry now.
In order to take these policies and implement these measures. Now, Rishi Sunak is not daft. I think he's done quite well so far. And, let's bear in mind where he comes from originally as well, or his family come from. The fact is that this country is only too pleased to welcome people like me and people like your family, if I may say so.
Absolutely,
But the fact is, it's all about the scale and speed of what is happening. Rishi Sunak doesn't know anything now that he didn't know when he appointed Suella Braverman.
I think that a lot of people on those Labour benches are getting increasingly wound up because they can't handle the idea that a Home Secretary who comes from an ethnic minority background and a Prime Minister who comes from an ethnic minority background might actually want to do something about illegal immigration, not out of racism, but out of principle.
That's why they're doing it, because they are afraid, for goodness sake. They haven't got any alternative policies, so they think, right, let's go for the player rather than the ball. That's what's happening now.
Alp, always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Alp Mehmet.